Welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth. In the U.S., it is Monday, January 22nd, 2024. We're headed to one of the friendliest cities in the U.S., Greenville, South Carolina. This festive city is rich in culture, cuisine, and outdoor scene. Plus, an inside look at Filipino communities from around the world. Their vibrant spirit and love for one another allows them to embrace their home away from home. In the new Earth, we're learning how to travel without ever leaving your physical location. It's called remote viewing, and it can even take you off the planet. And students in the U.S. get school credit for doing outdoor activities, including yard work.
This is Calen, messenger for United Network News. Here's a look at today's field messenger reports from all around the world. Today we explore Greenville, a charming city in South Carolina, USA. With its natural beauty, rich cultural heritage, and vibrant downtown, Greenville offers a unique blend of urban sophistication and outdoor adventure. UNN Field Messenger Krystal takes us on a journey through the city.
Hi, I'm Krystal, United Network News Field Messenger. We are on our way to Greenville, South Carolina. We are coming in autumn to see the leaf color change. This hidden gem is located in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Main Street downtown is the place to come to find all kinds of restaurants, shopping, and entertainment. This charming town was nominated the friendliest city in the USA. For the food lovers, this store sells flavored olive oils and vinegars from around the world. They have amazing recipes on their website for free. For the shamans at heart, this store sells everything from crystals to dream catchers and candles. Earth also has a very strong presence here. The Peace Center presents Broadway shows and other great productions. Going down Main Street is Falls Park, an open green space in the heart of downtown. Liberty Bridge is located just after the water flows, with iconic views from the city behind it. We didn't have to leave the city to enjoy nature. Greenville has many parks, with walking trails to enjoy the peace and quiet. Paris Mountain State Park is just 10 minutes away. Time to relax and appreciate the land. Pets are welcome here. The park has 4 lakes and 15 miles of hiking and biking. The city allure, combined with nature extravaganza and genuine southern hospitality, makes Greenville our favorite city in the country to visit. United Network News, Greenville, South Carolina.
Regardless of where they are in the world, Filipinos share this unique spirit of mutual help and unity, creating a sense of belonging and home away from home. UNN Field Messenger Grace exemplifies the vibrant spirit of Filipino community.
Hi, I hope you are all doing fine. Grace Lila here, Field Messenger. Winter days, it could be freezing cold, dark, lonesome, and a bit of a drag sometimes. Or it could be warm, cozy, full of laughter and fun. Filipino communities are spread all over the world. They have this trait of collective togetherness. Wherever they might be situated, they will always find ways to meet and catch up with each other. It is a bond that connects them, which comes in handy when you are far, far away from your homeland. Despite the struggles and daily grind, it's not easy. Yet, somehow, they maneuver their busy schedules and are able to squeeze in memorable, enjoyable moments with friends and dear ones, such as a quick day trip to nearby neighboring countries, a stroll around the city for a festive ambience, a get-together on some special occasions. They also love to sing along. Well, what one might lack with sounds, one can make up for enthusiasm. Of course, the favorite food, sharing gifts. Basically, Filipino communities are all about spreading joy, cherishing caring positive bonds, giving a sense of unity and belonging to each and every one they meet. Of course, with a heartfelt smile. Until next time, have a wonderful festive season to all. Grace Lila here, reporting from Belgium. Bye!
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. You don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos and our production team will create the report for you. For ideas and inspiration, we encourage you to join our new Field Messenger group on Telegram. Our new website is now up and running at unitednetwork.earth. You can submit your Field Messenger reports directly through the Field Messenger tab at the top of the page. You can also email your reports to our new email address at fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth.
Hello, I'm Susan from Sweden.
Mwanda Michael from Eastern Uganda, Africa.
Hi, I'm Tim from Vancouver, Canada.
I'm Titeshwar Kogao from Manipur State, India. I'm Gumba Obasi from Southeast Nigeria.
Arnaito Chakrini from Western Uganda, Mbarara.
At United Network News, you are the news.
My name's Christina, Field Messenger, report first one in the hurricane down here in Southern California from Mexico.
Real people reporting real stories from all around the world. At UNN, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Jason from United Network News. We're going to be doing some aircrete building with new technologies that allow us to live in comfort and also off the grid.
Take the next step in changing the way the world gets the news. Become a UNN field messenger today.
I am Michelle from South Africa, and we are the United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I am United Network News.
If it is going to be, then it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
Si va a ser así, depende de mí. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN.
Living in the new earth means rediscovering our incredible human abilities and using them for good. And one of those abilities allows our consciousness and our senses to travel anywhere we want. It's called remote viewing. Zenka Caro from LightNet helps people worldwide remember their amazing superhuman skills through online workshops and experiences. And that includes taking people off planet through remote viewing. So Zenka is back with us, and we are talking about off-planet remote viewing. Now, Zenka, anytime I hear someone talk about remote viewing, it usually has something to do with like a secret space program or, spying on Russia and spying on China. But what we're talking about today is off-planet. So that's a little bit different, right?
Yes, exactly. A lot of times you will train on different targets, and that can be, a coffee cup or a picture of like a duck. And it became really frustrating to me. And so we started to develop off-planet remote viewing because we realized that you can't. So for anybody who doesn't understand remote viewing, let's start there really quickly. Yeah. That when you calm your body and you quiet your mind, helps to be in a Faraday cage where you're actually blocking out electromagnetic signals. But when you really quiet your mind, you can actually bilocate your senses to somewhere else to actually view something. And you're right. It's been something that we discovered how to do and have been training people for decades within the military to do. But we always want to use our special abilities for things that are positive, right? And as citizen science, we can do that because we're using our body, which is a very incredible technology. So one of the things we decided to do at LightNet was when we set up our remote viewing teams of 8 to 12 with Alan Steinfeld, who's a famous author and ET expert, we decided to bring people off planet and have everybody look around, whether we're going to a moon or a planet or something, and see if we could get a similar reaction for all of that. So a lot of times someone will be really good at smelling or really good at seeing or really good at drawing. And you can take those descriptions and we often see the same thing. And this was something I believe that we're one of the few people that are actually doing it. Because like I said, a lot of times you'll study remote viewing and you're wasting your psychic energy by viewing an app that has a picture of a coffee cup, which you're trying to figure out. Like, let's actually do it to do something interesting. So we've found incredible correlations between the teams as we repeat the different targets over and over again. And we believe that this is a new way for us to explore Earth by taking our consciousness, comparing our consciousness, and doing it in teams as citizen science so we can share the information with the world.
Okay, so these are small teams, and you guys are getting together over the internet, or is this done in person?
Exactly. We get together on Zoom, and we set up a team. So you start the first 2 classes, you don't go off planet. You're just getting to know your senses. And one of the things, when I was doing it, I have a very left brain. So I'm muscle testing. I'm like, is it blue? Is it, yellow? And I was testing, and Alan Steinfeld was like, stop, Zenka, put everything down, stop what you're doing. And he's like, just draw the target right now, pick up a pencil and do it. And I did it. And I drew a line and 4 lines over here and a circle. And that was exactly the picture. It was a picture of a park bench on an ocean with the sunrise. And he said, how do you do it? And I said, I don't know. And he said, exactly. You don't really know how you can do it. You just trust your intuition and you start to become aware of how you remote view. So does it come as a sense? Does it come as a sight? You cannot name what you're seeing. You just have to, write it down, even if it doesn't make sense. And oftentimes we can develop that muscle in people, even just in 2 weeks, because remember, we're doing hands-on, everything hands-on. It's not theoretical. And then by the 3rd class, we're actually astral traveling and going to remote view and exploring this incredible frontier that's waiting for us without damaging our body with radiation in space.
Now, are there any dangers to doing this? Because I've heard of people astro traveling. So first of all, the question is astro traveling the same thing as remote viewing?
Well, it's not exactly the same thing. So you can, when you astral travel, you leave your body. And I'm not even sure Alan would say that he's astral traveling. I think of it like that because I do leave my body in order to remote view off planet. But basically, to answer your question, when you do leave your body, that is opening it up in a way, but you can do protection and basically, I have never experienced a situation where that's been a problem because remember, your mind chooses the story that you live. So if you're scared someone's going to get in your body when you leave it to go remote view or astral travel, that could happen. Because you've said that you believed it could happen. You have to be very careful with your paranoia and the way that you choose to script your life. Yeah. So we always empower each other. We go in numbers. We're a very high vibrational organization. And so we know that we lock it down in love and light always while we're doing this stuff. And this is your capabilities are waiting for you to discover. And we're excited to use remote viewing to do something that's not killing people or doing spies or right? Like, let's use our genius to make the world better.
Well, if you're not sitting still practicing your remote viewing skills, recent Research suggests that even a small amount of consistent daily exercise can have significant and wide-ranging health benefits. Movement is one of the key elements of a long and active life, and with creativity, can bring fun into everyday activities. By stimulating the production of endorphins, the body's natural pain and stress fighters, regular exercise helps in combating anxiety. It enhances our overall sense of well-being, promoting a feeling of happiness and euphoria. In addition, engaging in physical activity can enhance the levels of good cholesterol, leading to improved blood flow and decreased risk of heart disease. The study also confirms that regular exercise can help manage various health issues such as type 2 diabetes and depression. Regular physical activity can even assist in falling asleep faster and achieving a deeper sleep. In light of these findings, it is recommended that healthy adults should engage in at least 20 minutes of aerobic activity daily, in addition to strength training exercises. If going to the gym is not your thing, swimming, dancing, walking the dog, cycling, and other free time activities can replace formal exercising and bring more joyful movement into your life. An alternative learning center in the U.S., known for its unconventional approaches to learning, is engaging older teens in physical education programs of a different kind. The center has introduced programs where students can earn credits by participating in outdoor activities, such as canoeing, hiking, and even yard work. The idea of students working in the school garden transforms students' attitudes towards physical work. Recognizing the needs of the elderly and disabled residents that require assistance with yard work, the school began to extend their service into neighborhoods. Every June, a teacher leads a group of students, turning the classroom into the outdoors, where they actively engage in lawn mowing, yard waste cleanup, and tree planting. The success of this program has been unprecedented, leading to plans for its expansion. One student said that without this program, he would have remained secluded within the cycle of school, work, and home. The program has enabled him to interact with his neighbors, significantly expanding his social circle. One of the primary reasons behind the program's success is its simplicity. Unlike many complex or costly curriculum packages, this approach only requires basic garden tools. Combining both physical exercise and strengthening neighborhood ties makes the program very popular in the education sector as well as the community. In Bangladesh, you can earn credits while attending school on a boat. Boat schools keep education afloat during the 8-month period when low-lying regions are flooded and road access is impossible. The floating classrooms were proposed by a local man who experienced the difficulty of navigating floodwaters to reach school during his childhood. Launched in 2002 with support from international aid organizations, these specially designed boats have provided continuous education to 80,000 students from flood-prone areas. In 2012, more boats were added, providing education for another 14,000 students. The boats also double as a school bus, picking up children from their homes. Many girls who would otherwise be kept home by their parents can now access school safely. These free schools have filled a vital need, especially where poverty normally denies children educational basics. The value of this service is demonstrated by significantly improved school attendance in areas where historically less than 1% of the population completed secondary education. The boats are designed to seat up to 30 in a single classroom lined with reed walls. Often one computer powered by solar panels forms the hub of digital learning. Rooftop solar panels that power the computer also allow the boats to be used at night when working students can attend class. Some boats feature mini libraries, science corners, and laptops with internet connection, which increase learning potential. This innovative service has transformed education in Bangladesh, making it accessible for everyone, regardless of status or location, all because one man saw a problem, imagined a solution, and did something. Want to share news from UNN with your friends and family? Memes are a great way to get the conversation going. Here is today's UNN meme of the day. It says, when consciousness rises, everybody wins. There is no doubt we are living in a crazy world where good is considered bad and bad is considered good. Regardless of what's happening around you, you can always focus your energy inward and connect with our Creator. To see more memes just like this one, follow our Meme Team Telegram channel at UNN Memes. Share them on Telegram and any other social media channels where you still have an account. Welcome to United Network News. I'm Sunny Galt.
Connect with United Network News online. The news portion of our website at unitednetwork.earth recaps the biggest stories impacting our planet. You can also watch inspiring videos from our field messengers and get great tips for creating your own field messenger reports. Easily share all of this content with your friends in just a few clicks, including our social media memes designed to ignite conversation and critical thinking. It's time to restore our home. Let's make history together at unitednetwork.earth.
Now, a look at regional stories around the world. China's stock market continues to crash. More than $6 trillion of market value has been lost in the last few years. In Nigeria, more than 50% of the population lacks access to electricity, and even more are without clean cooking energy, with little relief in sight. Berlin's housing crisis is growing, as are the rents, forcing people to get creative on their applications. And in Sweden, the smoking rate has dropped dramatically. So, what's their secret? China's stock market is experiencing a severe crash with the worst weekly loss since March of 2023. The plummeting values, partially due to the government's decision to not use large-scale stimulus measures, have wiped out around $6.3 trillion of market value since 2021. The decline is not only causing financial turmoil, but also fueling restlessness amongst China's growing middle class, resulting in an upsurge of labor strikes and protests. China's largest brokerage suspended short selling for some clients in mainland markets, but this move is expected to increase volatility within the market. In response to the crisis, Beijing has refrained from implementing drastic monetary measures, causing further distress amongst the population. This stance has raised concerns amongst investors, prompting some to pull out of Chinese markets. India plans to construct a fence along its expansive border with Myanmar, ending a free movement zone agreement. This decision comes in response to the influx of Myanmar troops into India, fleeing from insurgent attacks. The proposed fence will extend more than 1,200 kilometers, or almost 750 miles, covering diverse terrains from dense forests to towering Himalayan peaks. The existing agreement, soon to be abolished, permitted residents of border regions to briefly cross into each other's territory without visa requirements. The move could significantly impact these communities, many of whom share close cultural and religious bonds. India has previously fenced significant portions of its borders with Pakistan and Bangladesh. The plan's timeline and construction details remain undisclosed. In Singapore, the Fair Price Group has announced a price freeze on 13 popular seafood and vegetable items through the Chinese New Year to combat rising costs. The move, intended to assist consumers impacted by inflation, was positively received by shoppers, who expressed frustration at annual price hikes in the wet markets during the festive period. Many opt to purchase goods from supermarkets instead of wet markets due to cost considerations. The Fair Price Group plans to maintain competitive pricing by benchmarking against wet markets, where prices for fresh produce have escalated an average of 35% compared to fair price. The price freeze initiative, first launched in 2023 for seafood and expanded to selected vegetables in 2024, aims to ease the financial burden during this festive season, a time when demand for such goods escalates. In Senegal, local communities are facing significant environmental and economic challenges due to industrial mining. Agricultural lands have been taken over by mining companies, resulting in the loss of farming and livelihood opportunities. The Falam River, a life source for these communities, is heavily polluted by mining waste, affecting both human health and local agriculture. Despite the wealth generated from these mines, local unemployment rates remain high. Disputes over mine recruitment have led to violent clashes, causing further distress amongst the population. These conditions have raised concerns about potential radicalization and the possibility for extremist groups to infiltrate and exploit the lucrative gold trade. While the government in Senegal has increased armed forces and launched infrastructure projects in response, locals argue these measures are insufficient. Stark figures reveal the daily struggles of rural communities in Nigeria. During a recent university lecture, the CEO of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company highlighted the severe energy deficiencies faced by the local population. He revealed 50% of Nigerians lack access to electricity, with a larger 75% unable to access clean cooking energy. These communities also have to travel great distances to gather biomass for cooking. He emphasized the crucial need for the government to bridge this energy gap as a means to ensure national prosperity. However, security concerns, vandalism, and fiscal policy issues plague the energy sector, making it unattractive for investments. The lecture was part of the university's initiatives to develop energy science research and tackle industry and educational needs. Unilever Nigeria has stopped production and sales of home care and skin cleansing products, including popular brands like Omo, Sunlight, and Lux. The change, announced last year, came into effect in December of 2023. Consumers may feel the impact as these well-known brands disappear from the shelves. The move leaves Unilever Nigeria with a focus on foods, beauty and well-being, and personal care products. Unilever's shift has also resulted in the leasing of its former production facilities to a third party. Before this step, the company reported a significant revenue decline of 45.1% year-on-year and increased losses. The European Parliament has passed a law limiting cash payments within the European Union to 10,000 euros, or almost $10,900. This new restriction, part of a larger effort to prevent the financing of terrorism and money laundering, affects countries like Austria and Germany, where cash payments were previously unlimited. The legislation also applies stricter rules to banks, real estate agencies, and casinos, requiring them to identify their customers and asset owners. Even the crypto asset sector and luxury goods trade will face new regulations for better traceability. This move follows the December approval for creating an EU agency against money laundering and terrorist financing. These changes mean EU citizens could face stricter payment and purchase rules, and businesses will need to meet new identification and reporting requirements. Germany's recent citizenship law reform may lead to a surge in naturalization applications, especially from the Turkish community. The reform simplifies the path to citizenship and eases restrictions around dual nationality. Community leaders estimate that all 1.5 million Turkish origin citizens in Germany without German citizenship will eventually apply for dual status. They also warn that the anticipated influx of applications may overburden German authorities. The new law reduces the residency requirement for citizenship from 8 to 5 years. For exceptionally well-integrated residents, this may be further reduced to 3 years. In Thuringia, Germany, asylum seekers, mainly from Syria and Afghanistan, are leaving in significant numbers due to strict controls on benefits. Authorities have replaced cash handouts with prepaid cards, usable only within the assigned district and credited upon the claimant's in-person appearance at a local office. The measure prevents refugees from sending money abroad and purchasing non-essentials like overpriced cell phones. Asylum seekers are legally obliged to stay in their assigned district for the first 3 months. Due to this change, some refugees have opted to leave, finding the restrictions too stringent. Supporters praise the initiative as an effective model for managing refugee policy and reducing abuse, influencing other districts to adopt similar measures. Berlin's housing crisis is escalating, causing a significant impact on residents' lives. Rental rates are skyrocketing, with an annual increase of more than 11% for existing properties and 20% for newly built homes. This inflation of costs has brought significant challenges to residents, particularly the new arrivals. The most popular apartments receive an average of about 640 applications in Berlin daily, indicating the fierce competition. Such competition forces prospective tenants to get creative, with some even resorting to impersonating corporate executives in order to stand out. The uncertainty of securing a home has had a profound impact on the residents' lives, causing many to delay major life decisions like starting a family. UK universities are facing a substantial decline in international student applications, which is leading to financial strains. Government measures targeting migration, such as restrictions on overseas students, bringing family members, and changes to visa routes, have contributed to this drop. The situation is worsened by the freeze on domestic student fees, which have traditionally been subsidized by the higher fees paid by international students. The decrease in international enrollment has significant implications for domestic students and the institutions they attend, potentially leading to financial deficits, compromised quality of education, and reduced diversity in the student body. Universities are urging the government to increase domestic tuition fees and teaching grants to mitigate this financial challenge. These changes may affect students' choices about where and what to study. Sweden has drastically reduced its smoking rate to 5%, the lowest in Europe, by adopting a harm reduction strategy. Rather than heavily campaigning against tobacco, Sweden promoted the use of snus, small pouches of moist tobacco that supply nicotine without the deadly consequences of smoking. This strategy has seen the smoking rate plummet from 34% in 1980 to a current level of 15% due to the use of snus. Despite nicotine's addictive nature, snus has been found to dramatically reduce the risk of lung and cardiovascular diseases associated with smoking. This harm reduction approach has been praised for its effectiveness in lowering smoking-related deaths, but is yet to be acknowledged by most countries. The EU continues to prohibit the sale of snus in most regions, and in the US, advertising snus as a safer option than cigarettes was rejected by the FDA. Healthcare quality for minority children in the U.S. is worse than for white children across all medical specialties. That's according to an analysis of more than 70 studies. This disparity exists across all medical specialties, from newborn care to mental health, and persists even when accounting for insurance coverage and socioeconomic status. The research found the most apparent differences in pain management. Minority children were less likely to receive painkillers for conditions like a broken limb or appendicitis. The study also found that minority children were less likely to receive necessary treatments for conditions like diabetes and asthma, and their developmental disabilities were often undiagnosed until later in childhood. The root cause of these discrepancies, according to the study, is structural racism, which impacts housing, employment, health insurance, criminal justice, and immigration. The U.S. Navy has modified its pregnancy policy, allowing sailors to negotiate a more suitable assignment rather than a mere transfer to a nearby shore duty. The revised policy aims to provide sailors with meaningful employment that matches their skills and career paths while also meeting mission-critical jobs. The previous policy was primarily based on medical considerations and proximity. The changes now allow sailors to discuss their roles while managing pregnancy, adoption, and parenthood, ensuring career advancement. The policy supports longer transfers, increasing stability for the sailor and the command. It also allows sailors who become pregnant on shore duty to extend their assignment or choose a new local role. The number of sailors who use the pregnancy policy is comparatively low to the overall size of the force. In Havana, Cuba, a community-led soup kitchen is providing a lifeline to locals facing economic hardship, amplified by the ongoing crisis. The project, funded by a mix of local and international aid, as well as private donations, serves up to 4,000 meals per day and provides a delivery service for those unable to travel to the central location. The facility operates without conditions, serving individuals regardless of their financial status. The rising demand, witnessed through dozens of new cases every day, indicates an increasing reliance on such initiatives amidst government ration cutbacks. Now, the kitchen, which has expanded to include a shelter for the homeless, it supports individuals suffering from a variety of issues, providing holistic services, including counseling, shelter, and food. Despite the struggling economy and ration shortages, the project continues to extend its aid, embodying the spirit of community resilience. Want the latest updates from UNN? Be sure to follow our channel on Telegram called United Network News Channel. This is our official Telegram channel, and it's where you'll find direct links to our newscasts and our in-depth field messenger reports. And be sure to check out CARE's new Health and Wellness Department. You can connect with the Center for Health and Wellness of Earth, or CHWE. That community, you can join their Telegram channel if you'd like to connect. Just search for Center for Health Wellness of Earth. And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. China's markets are in a state of rapid decline as investors pull out, as rumors of a failed economy are spreading like wildfire. And more on the way forward for the people in a world without elite control structures. And now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hi, Kim. Happy Monday.
Yeah, it's a happy Monday, all right.
Uh-oh. That doesn't sound very happy.
No, it's not too bad. It's really not too bad. Just been super, super busy over here. Okay. So probably going to be somewhat of a short report. We don't have a lot that happened over the weekend. There was a worldwide operative meeting over the weekend, which means you have your political operatives or your quote-unquote actual presidents and actual Congress people and actual parliament people. Mm-hmm. And it was supposed to be with a new group of SSP people, Secret Space Program people, who were apparently going to decide they were going to declare themselves in charge. They spent most of their time trying to acclimate to the environment, I guess you would say, or we could also say they were hacking and sent CyberLife people in different locations to see if they could get into anything, anywhere, and they all failed. And then came time for the worldwide operative meeting that they had actually called. So this is a repeat performance of something that happened a couple of months ago where the head of the Italian family, remember he was called the worldwide operative meeting and didn't show up?
Yep.
This is the same thing that happened with the group that was in Cheyenne. Same circumstance too. It appears that, I don't know what they were feeding them over in Cheyenne, but they're no longer with us, and nobody showed up for the call. So there were some operatives that decided to take charge. They were discussing us. They were discussing the possibility of moving forward in their respective countries. It looks like they all kind of went back home and decided to see what the options were, see if there was a possibility of going forward in another direction, kind of checking in with the different sectors in their respective countries, be it military operatives, intelligence operatives, political operatives, media operatives, in all the different sectors, and we'll see what happens. This meeting took place on Saturday, and then there was another meeting yesterday late in the afternoon. So the meeting yesterday was more of a definitive, we've reviewed the information and done our research, and now we're going to go back to our respective countries and come up with a plan. Because there is a lot of talk amongst them, especially in the political sector, of whether or not they're going to have a job anymore. That was a topic of conversation in many different areas. As far as the U.S. is concerned, allegedly, some decisions have been made, but this is kind of, and I'm sorry to say, a repeat performance as well. They were asked by some remaining secret space program people who still would like to be in charge, and also Langley 5, or your 5-star generals, behind the scenes generals, to just wait until Thursday or Friday. Now, why wait until Thursday or Friday? Well, there's a full moon on the 25th, which is Thursday, so they think it's going to help them out in some way, shape, or form, because the other 374 full moons didn't do anything, but this one could be the charm. Mm-hmm. This is the one here. This is the queen mother of full moons on the 25th. So, we're just going to hang on and wait. But there are some interesting things that are coming as well. So, if you're standing on a beach and you're just hanging out and waiting, and maybe you're going to go surfing and you're waiting for a perfect wave to come along, and so you can surf the wave. Well, while you're waiting for a wave, in the background, you see, not too far off in the distance, you see a giant tidal wave coming. Now, you can probably hang out on the shore for a little while looking for that wave, but you're starting to notice the water is receding very rapidly, because that's what happens when there's a tsunami. And you're seeing this giant wall of water that's probably 500 feet or so high, and you're looking at it thinking, should I wait for the perfect wave, or the ultimate full moon, or the next alignment with something? Can we afford to wait? Mm-hmm. And the answer to the question is, if you see that wall of water and you're standing on the shore, you better run. Drive, run, get on a scooter, go somewhere as far away from the shore as you can go, because nothing good is going to come of that. Now, by wave, by tsunami, by tidal wave, we are talking about the financial crisis that is taking place, and it's starting over in Asia. So you heard it here first. We told you that the economy of China is done. Their media control is lacking. Their mass suicide last week was nothing to sneeze about, and there is nothing good happening there. And you have investors, these are foreign investors predominantly, bailing on the Chinese market right now. And that is a wise decision, because in China, as I have stated previously, but I'll reiterate how their economy works, the government owns the majority of all companies registered in the country. They have also certain stipulations as it relates to certain types of companies, whereby only a Chinese citizen can own another portion of it. And there's very little room, depending on the industry, for a foreign investor. Now, that's for the average everyday person looking to invest in China. But deals are always made between the elitists and the elitists in China. Such deals were made with companies like Ford, which is a big one. and some other well-known pharmaceutical companies. If you don't know this, China actually produces and manufactures about 80% of all pharmaceuticals on the market worldwide.
Wow.
So, and this is your tsunami. And what I mean by tsunami, because this is an analysis, and you know me, I analyze everything, so I'm just going to give it out to you straight. So as that market starts to fall and foreign investors start to pull out, will the elite companies also pull out? So is Ford going to pull out? Are they going to leave behind no manufacturing jobs? Now, this next thing we need to take into consideration, when China's government's economy falls, that means most every industry and every corporation in the country could potentially also fall unless they change their regulations and allow for 100% ownership of a foreign entity in the country, which means that the very basis of communism in China could change. Wow. Now, that is a choice that they have to make, which could ultimately save the country. Other things it's going to save. There's a lot of vehicle manufacturing that happens in China. So, and we already have experienced a quote unquote chip shortage, which has caused a shortage in new vehicles in the marketplace, not only in the US, but worldwide. Now, what do you think is going to happen if the majority of the chip manufacturers go out of business? Yeah. This also goes for, and I know in the news you're seeing Taiwan, potentially erupting into a war with China, but that will never happen. It'll never happen. And I know the United States deep state would like that to happen, but it's never going to happen. It's never has happened. At the head of the helm of both countries deep states are partners. Now, neither country has much of a deep state left after last week's suicide event. Mm-hmm. So where they go from here, and the reason why I mentioned Taiwan is because they are one of the world's largest manufacturers of chips for cars and microchips for other things as well. That's why Pelosi spent a lot of time over there trying to invest in those companies. But the only way to save China at this point and further industries is to actually allow for 100% foreign ownership, which will technically destroy their communist society, and they're probably going to have to relabel themselves something else. I mean, every government in the world, let's face it, is a tyranny, all subject to the same group of people worldwide in the past. That being said, it doesn't matter what the label is. You can kind of structure, corral the masses or corral us slave people, what we were, into believing in that way of living being acceptable and the only choice, such as in the U.S., we were led to believe that we are a democracy, we are free, and, we should be able to vote and all, but you've never voted in your life. You might have stood in the line and checked some boxes or ticked some things on a computer screen, but you never have. I'm sorry.
It didn't mean anything.
Yeah. Are all made by other people. Yeah. And that goes for every democracy in the world, socialist society, communistic society. But I'm going to tell you how China's going to save their economy. And that's the key right there.
What do you think the likelihood is of that, though, right? Because this would require the people that don't seem to care much about their country and the people in their country to make some significant changes.
Well, neither does ours.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
They're more concerned with their own bacon at this point in time than they are anything else. But the likelihood of it happening, being presented with the option with less deep state interference now, is, this is probably the first they've ever thought of it when they listen to this.
Wow.
You're gonna have to. It'll take no time at all to pass the laws that allows for foreign ownership and investment in the country. Once you do that, everything will change. All of those contracts that they have with the African continent behind the scenes and all the political leaders, they have come to realize they cannot leverage those assets that are in ground. Sure, they can get a good deal, basically free, free supplies of rare earth minerals in some cases with contracts that they've made, but there's only so much you can pull out of the ground and only so fast, and it's not enough to save a multi-trillion-dollar economy. Mm-hmm. Next, by tsunami, I mean several other things. Okay, 80% of the world's pharmaceuticals are manufactured in China. This also goes for things like insulin and other things that we don't have another solution for at this moment in time. There are solutions for long-term, we could do 3D printing of a pancreas. We can change a lot of things, hormones in the body, but we don't have those solutions in a mainstream market. Mm-hmm. If we don't come up with a solution for that, we're going to be in serious trouble. And I know people that watch our news are going to go, oh my God, don't support big pharma. But you've got to think about things like people that carry around an EpiPen because they could go into anaphylactic shock and have severe allergies to things. These are things that, yes, there are solutions for in the future and different solutions possibly. Mm-hmm. But interim wise, you got to remember, of the 8 billion people in the world, not that many people have heard of us and not that many people know who we are when you look at it on a worldwide scale. Now that's going to change too. Sure. But for right now, that is the circumstance, and we need to figure out something. If they don't make that decision and make that decision fast, we could be in trouble. The world could be in trouble.
What, Kim, do you recommend people that are listening that might be on some of those things that you were talking about and need some of those products? What do they do? Should they stock up, or what do you recommend that they do, or just sit tight for now?
Well, at this moment in time, I'd say, the tsunami is building and the water is receding. Mm-hmm. You're seeing a severe drop in the markets, which means that the small portion of foreign ownership that was permitted are all pulling out. That's basically what's happening. Big money, hedge funds, those that invested in China, they were also told. So markets worldwide, and I say Wall Street, but it's not just Wall Street in America, it's all markets worldwide, are kind of, there's a lot of nepotism that happens in those markets. And the people in Switzerland communicate with the people in Germany, and the people in England, and those people communicate with Wall Street, and those people talk to the people in Argentina. So when the worldwide plan moved over to China in the 70s, everybody had planned for and to include a lot of American deep state elite were buying places in like Macau, in Hong Kong, in Shanghai, and they were planning for the world's move to the global power center, which is now called China, away from America. Mm-hmm. They were told that the Federal Reserve was going to move to Hong Kong. And this was over a decade ago. Everybody had been talking about this and making that move. Their strategic investments were to pull out of the U.S. markets and to invest in the China markets. And this has been going on for, probably 3 decades in some cases, but at least very heavily in the last decade or two. And on the higher circles, I should say, we're watching it happen. Those are the people that are pulling out now because they know China's done. But if they allowed for 100% foreign ownership of corporations, I can assure you there'd be some assistance there. The next thing they'd need to stop doing is you need to shut down anything we haven't already found, like the sites we found underneath the Three Gorges Dam. You need to stop spraying us like we're cockroaches. Mm-hmm. This is ridiculous. And we know it all comes out of there. I'm sorry, all the orders come out of there. The American generals comply, that's true, or the Netherlands generals or the German generals or wherever you are. It's one worldwide government. Let's not lie to each other here. We don't have separate militaries, and nobody's in a war with each other. I know it looks like that, and there are people that are hurting right now due to skirmishes that are going on, but they are friends. At the end of the day, they all get together, have a beer or whatever it is they do in their spare time, and they chat about what they're going to orchestrate tomorrow. That includes Israel and the Hamas, Pakistan and Iran, and all the other things you're seeing going on in the mainstream news. So further, this is the second wave, or not second wave, but part of the tsunami that we could possibly see is a worldwide manufacturing crisis, not just of pharmaceuticals, but think about all the things in your home right now that are manufactured in China. No matter where you are in the world, we have to start looking at these things. Now, are there things other countries could possibly do? Yes, there is. We have more rare earth minerals in the United States than most countries in the world. We're one of 7 countries in the world that have as much or as many rare earth minerals that we could use here to manufacture chips. I've been saying it for about 3 or 4 years now, and everybody would like to wait for a full moon. So, you go ahead and you wait for the full moon, and I'll see you on Friday because you're going to be in the same position, if not worse, than you are right now. Mm-hmm. But we do have the opportunity not only here, but also on the African continent. I know where they would go. We'll leave that quiet for now. But yes, there's an opportunity there to manufacture. There's opportunities in Russia to manufacture as well. But it's almost to the point where, because I've been saying it for so long, you're going to be hard pressed to push for that. Are we going to survive without goods coming from China? Yes, we are. But, we're going to have to start filling that gap in that hole. Yeah. If they don't make those decisions. I mean, if China's market goes completely down, which is entirely possible at this point, it's not going to be long before the U.S. market crashes. If the U.S. market crashes, all of Europe's markets are going to crash. All of Africa's markets are going to crash. The Russian market's going to crash. And all of the Latin American markets are going to crash thereafter. This is the tsunami that could possibly take place. It doesn't have to take place, but it could just be that it's part of the fall of governments, because this could happen. They are on the Titanic, and we have the sealant for the boat. We're telling you what to do. Mm-hmm. We're giving you options here. We've got the sealant. We can seal underwater. The boat's going to stay afloat. Your choice. But yet you're looking at me like I'm an alien with 3 heads. I'm not. I'm just one person with a really cool system or multiple systems that we built and a whole lot of wisdom that comes from someplace else. So if they want to change and they want to start allowing for more citizen ownership of companies, which is possible, 100% foreign ownership, mm-hmm. and start changing the way that their entire country works. I mean, it's a mentality too. It's a cultural thing. And I'm not saying in any way to get rid of your culture. But what I am saying is you're going to have to make some very swift economic decisions to survive.
And you think, can they have the ability to do that? Like, enough people have been removed above them so that they're not having to follow orders from someone else?
Well, it looks like that. There might be stragglers, just like we see on this end of it. Mm-hmm. You could have some stragglers that call a worldwide operative meeting and then not show up because you have left this planet. That's possible. That could definitely happen. But, if China goes down, you're going to see Russia go down real quick because of the way that they have economically isolated the Russian economy. Mm. So Russia was forced recently by China, even though it looks like it's the Americans and sanctions, and it looks like the Europeans, and it looks like the war in Ukraine, but the entire thing was all about isolating Russia. There is a reason, and we've talked about this in the past, why Russia is one of the most heavily attacked countries on the planet for a very long time, for over a millennia. It has to do with the gateways there. It has to do with the black sun control there in the past, and the removal of that control removes it for the entire world. Some of the deepest, darkest places in the world were there, as well as some of the lightest. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you that we worked in Russia again this weekend. So over in Volgograd, that very strange, I call it the Russian Statue of Liberty over there in Volgograd. It's really, really tall, and there's some really interesting things that were underneath there that are no longer there. But Russia has almost every rare earth mineral on the planet. They've got plenty of diamonds, plenty of gold, plenty of silver. They could disrupt the entire world's markets if they didn't agree to adhere to the elitist stature of us all living in lack. We do not lack gold in the planet. We do not lack silver. Rare earth minerals are not rare at all. And there's plenty of them to manufacture whatever we want. But see, then the price of your car, for example, goes down in half, and they still make the same profit. Yeah. You see? Yeah. It's all about, quote unquote, diamonds are rare. These, industrial diamonds are far from rare, to manufacture lasers and other stuff like that. But so the tsunami will then start hitting bricks pretty quick. And then you're going to see it steamroll into America, and it's going to come from the other side. So then everything in between will then be hit with that tsunami. Mm-hmm. So things to possibly look out for. Now, right now, we don't know what's going to happen over there. But with what they would have allowed for foreign investment to come in, and then we don't know about the behind the scenes large manufacturing that happens there and what those deals look like, because I'm sure they look a lot different than the face front laws for the rest of us. Mm-hmm. But they're clearly pulling out of the China markets right now. That is clear, abundantly clear. So are they going to be able to be the manufacturing base for the entire world, which is what they look like? Probably not. Doesn't look like it. They could be, if they change their structure. So enough about China. But these are things that we're watching very, very closely. As far as here in the States, yeah.
Can I ask a question? So last week, and we know Congress is pretty much a front, right? And they're not really.
Yeah. We're talking about political operatives.
Yes, we're talking about political operatives. But on, what the public sees is that Congress passed a stopgap bill last week. Yeah. So can you give us any insight on what the heck is going on over there? Were they given poor information? I'm assuming someone said, hey, a lot of money is going to come in, therefore pass this. Obviously, they don't have any money. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The first amount was due on January 19th. Okay. Nothing came. They were told by tentative people who are no longer with us that they were now in charge, and that it'll probably be sometime around Wednesday. Mm-hmm. They always start 3 days before the full moon. I mean, they've been hacking like crazy all morning, and they were told that it could possibly be Wednesday or Friday of this week
that they get paid that money.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why the people that allegedly were going to declare themselves in charge had all the operatives go to the zones, to take the phone call in what we call a white room, which is supposed to be a super secure line. The ones that could go went, and then the other ones just picked up the phone and called. They weren't going to leave their house anymore, and nobody showed up. As per usual. Langley 5 did try to call into that call and claim that they were in charge because no one did show up, and they were brushed off. So what are the political operatives going to do? About an hour and a half before the time of this recording, so sometime around noon Eastern Standard Time, maybe about 11, it appears that they have made a decision to go forward with us. I do not see a plan in place anymore, not anymore yet. Remember, this was only about an hour and a half ago, maybe two. I don't see a plan yet. I don't know if there's a meeting that they're going to orchestrate to come up with a plan. And it kind of looks like total chaos out there right now. Mm-hmm. You still have some political operatives making statements, which crack me up, about going after the dead guy in a White House, the Epstein files or something. I'm like, you're okay. So the entire country is basically looking at a giant, 500-foot tall tsunami wall headed for it in a very short order. And you're looking at that going, hey, but I want to throw darts at the dead guy.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, do they just not see it? They don't see the tsunami? They don't, we know they don't know a lot about
we won't have to worry about the pedophiles at that point,
Yeah.
because they'll all be drowning with the rest of us.
Well, the people will be fine.
Yeah, why don't you save the living people, guys? The ones that, are citizens. You're supposed to be protecting us. Remember us over here? But no. We're going to wait until the full moon comes. And then nothing will happen. And then I suppose next you're going to wait for the next new moon, possibly April's total solar eclipse or whatever's supposed to happen then. Or maybe there's an alignment between now and then where you can make another promise.
I don't even know how they're able to keep the lights on anymore. Do you know what I mean? Where's this money coming to even convince Congress to show up?
Well, there's a... People show up in Congress, and they will continue to show up until they're, not there anymore, or their operatives tell them not to show up, because the operatives run Congress. They are Congress. You just don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. And the reason why they show up is because these guys, remember, are the ones that have, let's just say, orchestrated the special parties that they like. Maybe there's young kids at those parties. Maybe they're not straight, and maybe they do bad things in the Capitol building. We've seen those videos circulating around of things that people do in the Capitol building after they're closed. And, they probably have a wife at home, but that's definitely not their wife. And that's definitely not a woman, sitting there. And these guys know it all.
Yeah. So it's
for that reason, the political actor section will show up every single day, broke or not, and say what they're supposed to say when they're handed their scripts by the operatives. So there's your answer. Does that answer your question?
It's sad. It's so sad.
And it's not just in the U.S. either. The House of Lords is just even more ridiculous. Mm-hmm. There are things that go on in Soho that you don't that even surprised me. Mm-hmm. And I've been around the world a little bit, and there's stuff that goes on there that's just really a little bit crazy. And Parliament, not only British Parliament, but all over the world. You got a Duma; they're doing the same thing. I have stood there. I have seen the floor. I have been there. I know about oligarchs in Russia are nothing more than KGB. Mm-hmm. And that's only, you can call them SVR or whatever you want to call them now, but those are still the KGB guys. Just like if we rename the CIA Roses and Sunshine, they're still CIA. It doesn't matter. You can change the name when, allegedly the USSR fell, which never did fall, by the way. It's still the USSR, and all of those countries work together as one unit. Nothing has changed here in any way, shape, or form. It's still all controlled by Russia predominantly. Sorry to say, maybe they don't have a communist label anymore. They're allegedly a democracy, but they're still a tyranny over there. But all of those guys, I've watched them. I've watched them bring women in and out. I've watched them do all sorts of things. There's lots of things that happen, but it's no different there than it is in America. Yeah. And it's no different in America than it is in South Africa. I could tell you stories about the former president, Zuma, that would make you laugh. And some of the ministers there. That happened in Cape Town with Israeli Mossad female agents. Yeah. You remember the days, Sonny? I'll tell you a funny story, and I'll let the rest of your mind wander here. You remember the days, it's probably, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 something, when the sparkly lotion was real popular?
Oh, yeah.
For women?
Yeah.
What was that? Probably about 15, 20 years ago, something?
I don't know. We still have some in my house.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have little girls.
My girls. We have little girls. So
it was popular. The shimmer lotion, the shimmer. Yeah. We were all wearing. It was probably, I don't know, probably about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that. Mm-hmm. And let's just say that woman, that was very popular for females.
Okay.
It wasn't a male thing, really, per se. But if you happen to get together with one of us females there in the early 2000s, then you too would have been shiny and shimmery, wouldn't you have been?
True, yes.
Yeah. Well, certain Mossad agents wear shiny, shimmery lotion, and there were some ministers that were walking around shining in the moonlight. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, my God.
I had a meeting that took place in Cape Town.
Wow.
We have to laugh, but it's the same everywhere.
Yeah.
And the operatives are everywhere. They're the ones that make all the arrangements. Like I said, it was shiny Mossad lady and the ministers. You know, this is a movie, I'm sure. There's probably in some, what do you call it, the blue light zone in some areas, the red light zone over here in America.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a movie about that, you know.
Probably. Wow.
But it's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. So we'll see what happens with the tsunami. Right now, I don't see anything as far as a fear. But as soon as I do, I will then tell you to stock up. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know what kind of decisions they're going to make from here. This just barely, let's just say, hit a peak last week. So it's going to take a little bit of time for it to trickle down into the private sector and start affecting manufacturing of things that you, the people, use. You might not be able to get that cheap coffee maker, but I'm sure you'll find a way to make coffee, and I'm okay with that. But I'm more concerned with those types of things that people at this moment in time really cannot live without.
Right, of course.
Okay, let's see. To further prove that there's a little bit of craziness going on, Iran has now publicly denied that they knew anything about the bombing of Pakistan that had been happening over the last few days. Mm-hmm. And they said it was a rogue group in their Revolutionary Guard that must have done it, and they don't even know who it was. Yeah.
I don't think I'm buying that.
Well, you have Iranian generals that are Chinese. Mm-hmm. They don't look Chinese, but trust me, they are. And they were taking orders from all the wrong people. But it's been, as far as I know, it's been fairly quiet, you know, for the last couple of days. No money came on Friday again, yawn. But you never know. They could start ramping up any minute now because there's another set of people and Langley 5 decides it's a good idea. Yeah. Now, by Langley 5, and I say the 5-star generals of Langley 5, they are not all American. We call it Langley 5 for lack of a better term because predominantly I would say it's a Langley-based thing. But you have Koreans in there within the group. You definitely have some Latin American folk within the group. And these are native to those countries. It doesn't mean they don't live here now, maybe, or not, or, you know, it doesn't really matter. I do know for a fact there were some Chinese generals involved in that, too. So it's a worldwide thing. The British, definitely British. You know, are they going to do something foolish? Are they the surfers waiting on the beach right now? Mm-hmm. From the looks of the meeting that started about an hour ago from the time of this recording, I'm going to say yes, they look very surfer-like to me. Very surfer-like. And they are waiting for the ultimate wave to come in. The water's receding, you know, the wall is going higher and higher, and they're going, shuffling through papers, going, is there anything that we may have forgotten? Some place we could get some money and kind of sort this thing out with Congress. You know, let's take a look at the old writings from our former bosses and covens and whatnot, and see, like, maybe there's an alignment coming up where this is supposed to all switch around. Well, it's not going to switch around. The power and control structure is breaking down. We're now down to government level. And what I mean by government level is there are old communication lines that used to exist between these people where they thought they were calling securely, and those lines don't exist anymore. Also, the ability to, how do I say, communicate directly with media organizations, pretty much has gone away. A lot of that structure had already been broken down, but you still had those special little phones, and when they rang and gave a narrative, they would answer. Sure. Those things have gone away. So there's a number of different things that have broken down over the last few days. These are predominantly those sort of things, which is rendering them even more and more useless. I personally, just for the record here, I am not waiting for any of these people to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm really not. I'm not waiting for the operatives to do anything. I'm not waiting for the governments to do anything. We're just keeping it moving and setting ourselves up for success over here. The rest is kind of irrelevant with those few exceptions that I am concerned about that I mentioned to you. So definitely thinking about those. The Fed looks like a bunch of deer caught in a headlight. I don't know if they're playing solitaire on their computers because it doesn't do anything else anymore. Not sure. Did try reinstalling the FedNow system again this weekend. Obviously, that didn't work out. How many times can we say that? Yawn. You have other people chasing around pedophile files to go yell at a dead president. How nice for you. Like, that is just such a waste of time. They're still trying to play a political game when we aren't going to have politics anymore. And y'all supplied them with it. You did. You were their supplier. Let's not lie. So you want to throw stones at the user, or you want to get the supplier? What are we going to do here? And then exposing cases like this at a time like this, you're still waiting for the perfect wave, guys. You're still on the shore. You're waiting for the wave. You think you're going to change the world by putting one actor in place of another one for the lead role in the movie, and it's still not going to change the country. It's just not. You're not going to change anything. That tsunami is going to come whether you like it or not. So the best thing you can do is get everybody to safe ground, and that's not where you're focused right now. You're focused on throwing darts at dead people. Wake up. Anyway, because I've heard about that this morning, and I'm like, not that it's not an important thing to do to stop the supply chain of, to the pedophile groups, because they're not going to go out and get them themselves. I mean, these aren't the guys that troll the schoolyard you're talking about. These are politicians. Everything is fed to them. So things are definitely moving and changing. That's my main concern right now. I'm watching out for that. The crashing and burning of the manufacturing base of planet Earth, known as China. If China's not able to buy the Russian oil, the Russian oil and gas that comes through the pipelines that were built several years ago, that's going to crash and burn. The Europeans, gas supplies and things that were promised from Israel, is not exactly happening in the way that they anticipated. Part of the Palestine war has a lot to do with the ports and the Strip, and it also has to do with control of gas supplies as well, and a pipeline that's supposed to start in Saudi Arabia and go all the way through the Middle East, then to Europe, both for gas and oil, and that's not happening. That's actually waiting for the next full moon as well. Or alignment with whatever planet is supposed to happen, and then it'll be the next full moon after that. And how many full moons could there possibly be in about, where are we at now, 2007 to 13, 17 years. 17 years in running.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's a Q number. Don't say 17.
You know.
You can get all the Q people riled up.
Maybe it's their year. Maybe that's it, Sonny. Maybe you would just, oh my God, you just finally figured out. What is the whole world waiting for? It's year 17. We won. That's the Q time, you know? No. But they have been doing this for 17 years, and, you know, the only one that's ever supplied anything to this world as far as liquidity was me. And we've proven it. All the documents, everything is on our Telegram chat. You know, you can go back and look for them. We've explained it on the news several times with proof that actually did happen. So, you know, unfortunately, you know, that's the reality of the situation. And there is no pipeline being built. There will probably never, ever be a pipeline built from Israel and Saudi Arabia through to the European Union. That's probably never, ever going to happen. So you better make nicey nice with the Russians, just saying, because it just doesn't even make any sense. I mean, there's plenty of oil and gas and other you know, areas in the region, but, you know, the isolation was all China wanted of Russia for those reasons, and the control of the market. Now, we pointed out, and this is no surprise to you, we pointed out the fact that it was 60% China, 40% Israel, 40% Rothschild, Ital, fake Jewish Khazarian mafia families, and 60% Chinese deep state families. Now, would it surprise you if Israel were to supply the entire world with gas, or the entire European Union at least? No, it wouldn't surprise you, would it? Mm-hmm. Same thing with Saudi Arabia. The entire Saudi Arabian family are Rothschild family. It doesn't matter what their last name is. It's their Rothschild, for sure. And they're actually not even the original royal family of Saudi Arabia in the first place. For those of you that don't know, the original royal family of Saudi Arabia actually hailed from Sudan. And they were not brown in any way. So there's a surprise for you. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. It's going to be very interesting. I do know that there are operatives, the financial operatives, because there is such a thing, are trying to prop up the markets the best that they can today to avoid a crash of the markets. Technically, what would really be happening if there was no one attempting to prop up the markets till the full moon on Thursday? That's what they've been told. Keep those markets up there, put those numbers out there till at least the full moon on Thursday, and by Friday, you know, we'll be able to help you out and give you all that money back. That don't worry about those margin calls, boys and girls, just buy, you know. Keep the volume up there, keep it going. Yeah. That's not a thing. Yeah. Well, so that's about the world situation report for right now. I don't have any further news on any of those fronts, but we'll see what everybody decides to do on that part and how it will affect you personally.
Is there
who's in what house and who's talking what? I just don't care anymore.
I know. Yeah, it's getting old, honestly.
It is, isn't it?
Very much so. Is there an update on last week we declared war against the deep state? So
they declared war against us.
Well, they tried, right? And they tried to, yes, but nothing got filed. But then we countered, essentially, right? And that got filed.
And they all committed suicide. Many of them committed suicide by Friday.
Okay.
Friday morning. That would be an update there. As far as there's a reason why the people in Cheyenne didn't actually show up for the call.
Yeah. So they're gone too.
Yeah. We'll see if the 5 stars make good decisions, good life choices.
Yeah.
You know, there are, you know, we are still, right now, we haven't seen a whole lot of activity from any of the remaining family members out there. It's mainly the secret space program in every country in the world. They're one space program, by the way. And I know a lot of people talk about the Americans and the American space program, but the Russians have it too. The Chinese have it. The Japanese have it. The Polish have it. You know, they all have a secret space program. So, and so on and so forth. I'd say if anybody was trying to step up and be in charge and looking for an alignment, it's those people. Yeah. I don't really see much going on family-wise. That doesn't mean there won't be, but since Friday's heavy action from Wednesday to Friday, we haven't seen a lot, except for those few people on Saturday. Nothing yesterday to speak of. A bunch of hacking, actually. It's just a bunch of secret space program hackers, CyberLife, Elsewise. That's it. It's all about the money for them right now, because they know without the money, they're not going to be able to control anything.
Yeah. What about the people that are fighting in these wars, that we keep seeing promoted, Israel and Palestine and still Ukraine and Russia? We talked about each man, woman kind of being on their own. Are you going to continue fighting? If so, this isn't going to end well for you. Are people I'm assuming are still fighting? They're still, kind of carrying out some orders over there?
In the last 24 hours, I don't see a lot of it.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of people, every time you give an order, you go away. You give an order, you go away. You give an order, you go away. Why do you think in Iran they're denying that they ever knew anything about a bombing of Pakistan?
Wasn't us.
Wasn't us. Wasn't me. I didn't know anything about it. It was those people.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
We haven't seen much of that either in the last 24 hours. So it takes time for people to really start getting the message, or there's nobody left to talk.
Mm-hmm.
They say that the old story is you leave one person to tell the story.
Right.
Are there sane people left in this world? I don't know.
I hope so. I hope they come to the table.
I believe that as far as the U.S. military, as of this morning, they were waiting for orders. They're not sure from who, though, but they're waiting for them. I know.
And obviously, none of these people have reached out to you. No one's directly contacted you or anything.
No, there are people in those circles I can actually reach out to directly, but I'm just watching. Yeah. But see, so Kim's Day. Let's talk about Kim's Day, what's important to Kim. So predominantly this weekend, other than that type of work, and then, of course, the cleaning work, because that's still an ongoing thing. It's not terrible. It's little things here and there. It has to do with like the old timekeeper programs that, try to reinstall things. And there's timekeeper programs in computers. There's timekeeper programs in the multiverse. Fusion to dark consciousness of computers, because quantum AIs run on a consciousness as well. So that type of thing. So I do that for many hours in the day. But over the weekend, and I can't say too much about it yet, but my main focus over the weekend is how are we going to move forward with what we have, and then put in place a structure of how we're going to move forward in the future. That's been my main focus. So as we're cleaning and clearing, I'm preparing for the now. What can we do now? And what kind of infrastructure can I put in place so that when more funding comes through, how are we going to best support all of these people in all of these places all over the world? Mm-hmm. And myself and some of our people in our close circle here, and I don't like to use the term, I'd say our leads, our team leaders, have gotten together and come up with a number of different things to help you now and then help you in the future. And the future in the way of commerce, in the way of manufacturing, in the way we receive goods and services, and and how expensive it currently is as a small business owner to sell your goods and services. Yeah. And, everybody wants a piece. So if you're selling on, for example, like Amazon or something like that, you're paying like 30% to Amazon, plus the cost to make your soap or whatever it is you're making. And it's really hard to make a profit. So we've kind of come up with some other ways to do that, to get your products out there on a worldwide scale. We're looking at some of those things, and just different ways that we as a small little community meaning at UNN, can support everyone else.
Right.
We've actually kind of got a plan. We're starting to reach out. I know, Sonny, you're reaching out to one of the little farmers. So we can probably look forward to seeing them on the news, and we'll be doing that in Australia as well. I know that there's a big community there, so that we can make sure that if this happens, and I'm not sad. I'm not sorry that we might never see an aluminum can in our grocery store anymore. Well, I mean, we shouldn't be eating things out of aluminum cans if at all possible, really, truly. And there are better ways to cook and that are healthier for you, to get rid of the heavy metals in your own environment. So I've been more focused on the structure and the framework of care, the structure and the framework of the amazing people that I've seen, in our community, that they might manufacture their own health products or stuff like that, or there's plenty of people out there in the community that are doing that. They're actually doing it and have their own stores and have their own things. So, I mean, I started looking at this as a worldwide resource, not only for them and their businesses, but also for all of you. So I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. I mean, we have an amazing group of people that are part of the care community, and part of, they're just viewers of UNN, and they like what we're doing here. So the same community concept that we're doing with United Network is the same thing we're looking at doing in every single area. So whether it's media and it's United Network, we've talked about possibly reaching out to smaller news stations in the future, local community news stations that, they're always looking for, they're surviving basically barely on local advertising right now. Yep. And what if they could, have an advertising source that could possibly be worldwide? Where everything's kind of gone to an online marketplace. In some cases, obviously, you can't drive your car into your computer and repair it, but there's a network there that could help them as well in the future, and help you, as the person trying to get the word out about your stuff. So, I mean, it's not going to cost the business owners really anything that they're not paying right now to somebody else, to some, Etsy or online marketplace, whatever it is. So we've kind of we've been working those programs over the weekend, working really hard on those things, developing them, making sure that there's no detail we've missed. And at the same time, we're working on the cleaning and clearing, so that we have come up with several steps. One is now, what actionable items can we take now to support everybody? And then what actionable items can we take to support everybody in the future? Right. So that means, okay, so now all these business owners are here and they want to start maybe opening a larger manufacturing base without compromising the integrity of their product or whatever it is. Now maybe they can do that, and then we can then grow more on an advertising basis, and maybe news and media changes not only through UNN but also through smaller networks in local communities. That could be a possibility as well. We have a lot of options here as the main corporate structure of planet Earth that I call the elite corporates, falls. It leaves an opportunity for you to grow, and to change and to really thrive as a small business owner without a glass ceiling.
Yeah.
You know, there's no more elite glass ceiling that's going to be here. So we'll see what we do about certain things. You know, we've got a problem with Food and Drug Administrations and other things like that. But, you know, no one's going to be able to pay them anymore. China's out. You know, they manufacture 80% of the stuff. And even companies like Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, those are all their companies too. But all their stuff comes from China. So, no.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how this all turns out. But if you're looking at this as not like, oh, my God, we're all going to die, the stock market's going to crash or something like that. And we're looking at it as like, oh, look, here's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And with me, the messages and the downloads come in at the exact right time. And there was some reason why I was focused 50% on cleaning this weekend and 50%, you know, of all my waking hours were dedicated to those two things for the last 72 hours. There's a reason for that.
Sure.
Because, you know, I saw the tsunami. And apparently Source saw the tsunami too, because he's like, hey, do this, and this, and get these people ready and make it all happen. And so I'm excited. I'm actually, you know, my two favorite things personally in the world to do are to create. I love creating things. Mm-hmm. That can be anything from an art project to creating a worldwide structure that will change the world.
Sure.
The second favorite thing I like to do is to empower people. You know, nothing puts a smile on my face more than those two things, unless you're a deep state member, and which will be a no. But for the most, and this new thing I see shaping up over here actually does both. Yeah. So I'm really excited about it. We've got a lot of people working hard on it. I've been working really hard on it. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to doing. And I'm really looking forward to not reporting about the deep state anymore.
Well, and that's what we mean when we say we're not waiting on them. We're not waiting for them to do anything. We are building and creating new things over here.
Yep.
And, you know, we obviously have to respond a little bit if things start to fall apart. But
yeah,
but it's not that, we're not like, oh, what are they going to do next? I mean, I know everyone wants that information, but it's not about them anymore. Like, they're irrelevant, you know? They're not going to join the party. They're irrelevant.
Right. And so when something does come up that I could see possibly as an outcome, you know, I can say, well, this I need to tell you.
Yeah.
Because if it does happen, you know, and I know a lot of people can't afford to buy 1 or 2 months medications, and it's very expensive. And especially since the price of insulin and everything went up significantly, you know, I don't know what percentage of insulin is manufactured in other countries or even if in the U.S. So it's something I'd have to look into to really kind of give you those numbers and what we can expect in a decline in the market if that happened. Yeah. But honestly and truthfully, I am not a sad girl after what I've seen happen in Wuhan, what I've seen happen in the Three Gorges Dam area, and what I've seen happen and where all those canisters, chemtrails come from predominantly, and where, you know, that doesn't mean where they're stashed. It's where that they, you know, the predominant amount of them are manufactured. You know, I am not sad if they lose if they are no longer the manufacturing base for those types of things in the entire world. I'm really not.
Of course.
Yeah. But, you know, I have to think about the critical items too. Yeah. So that's the World Situation Report for Monday. And I hope to see you Wednesday instead of talking to you through the, and I apologize for that, but there's only so much time in the day, and I'm really excited about these new projects. And I'm one of those people that gets kind of hyper focused when I have a job that I need to get done, especially when it relates to all of you. So looking forward to doing that. And that's it for today, Monday. What day is today? 22nd.
22nd. Okay. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Sunny.
That wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record it and share it with us so we can help you share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.